What is up, RotoGrinders? Dean here. That's Dean 78904 if you want to get all technical. Just 57 minutes until lock. It's not exactly crunch time, and it's not exactly Grinders Live. It's somewhere in the middle. We're going to do like 50-50, half and half. First half hour or so, we're going to do a game by game. Just a 5-gamer, getting news as well. We got the Halliburton news, makes things a little bit cleaner, a little bit easier in our lives. We have a couple late games as well. It's kind of a split doubleheader, and then there's 3 early games, 2 late. And I believe it's Clippers, Blazers, 10 o'clock game. In the back half of the TNT doubleheader, that would be a 10:30 game. No, it's also a 10 o'clock game. The Rockets at the Kings. First half is a rematch of a game we saw about a week ago or so. A measuring stick game, if you will. The number 1 team in the East, the Cavaliers, taking on the number 1 team in the West, the Thunder. By records, Bobby, don't get mad at me. Maybe the Red Sox. We were talking baseball pre-show. Maybe the Celtics are the better team than the Cavs. We shall see. And they're just kind of rope-a-doping along and just just who cares about the regular season? Just get healthy, get to the playoffs, and then beat the Cavs because the lights are too bright for them. But we're gonna go game by game first half hour. Then we'll go position by position, fair players, DK, FanDuel, cash game plays, questions in chat. It's also a Fleet Thursday. A lot going on. That's why you have to hit that like button. You got to subscribe. You got to turn on those notifications as well. Let's just go ahead and drop. Let's drop that first clue. First clue, it's not going to help you out a ton, but you never know. You might think it. First clue for Fleet Thursday happens to be All-Star. And if you tell me who we're talking about, what athlete we're talking about, in the Discord only, rotogrinders.com/Discord, live stream chat channel, you get yourself a week free of RotoGrinders Premium. Not just basketball, football, baseball, basketball, hockey, golf, PGA, all the sports under the umbrella with the exception of NASCAR, which is a la carte. Bobby Gomes.
Yep.
Welcome.
Another great clue from Dean. All-Star. Wow.
Well, you can scratch a lot of people out. It's not bull.
I'll take that 10 times out of a 10. One that can point me in the right direction and isn't a synonym of a clue. I'll take that.
Synonyms of clues are very difficult for me.
Yeah, I mean, it'll all come together. I think it's kind of an easy one today, but we'll see. We'll see how easy it is. But All-Star is the clue. Bobby, how are things? We got a 5-gamer, a baby slate. Plenty of time to knock it out.
Everything's good. Ready to jump in with you guys, talk this slate. Weird crunch time / flagship, but we'll make it work, figure it out, and hopefully give you the best of both worlds with this show.
Yeah, it's just a strange setup, and that's just how it goes sometimes with a 5-gamer. It's not quite too small where it's just going to be crunch time, and it's not big enough where we have to start at 5 o'clock on the East Coast. So that's where we're at. We have TJ, the producer extraordinaire, the multitasker, going to be giving analysis, going to be producing the show, going to be dropping clues throughout the show. From you guys know TJ, right? He's one of the greatest DFS players in all of Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, Canada. You guys know that. And TJ will tell you he's the best. He's not being modest at all. What's up, TJ?
Yeah, no one's close. 300K people in the city. There, if somebody else was good, we'd know it by now.
If you're in the chat and you're from Saskatoon and you want to challenge TJ to a duel,
where's Jesse? Where's Jesse? I feel like he would be.
I don't want to dox him, but different city, same province. So that's why you can. You can make a battle if you said the whole province, but we live about 2 hours, 2.5, 2 to 3 hours apart from each other.
I don't know. It's pretty close.
So maybe Saskatoon, you might feel a little more comfortable about than just saying Saskatchewan.
Yeah, so if you say Saskatchewan, it's a debate. You can't just say that straight up and clear. But Saskatoon, it's easy money.
That's easy. Yeah, I mean. Mr. Richard saying R.I.P. Bob Uecker. Yeah, Bob Uecker. Hell of a run for Bob Uecker. You guys, he was still calling games for the Brewers at 90 years old, which is amazing. Just incredible. On the radio, I believe he was the radio guy, but famously in the Major League movies, other TV shows as well. Mr. Belvedere, if you're old enough. But yeah, there you go. Bob Uecker was a lot of fun. R.I.P. to Bob Uecker. We did get Halliburton in. As far as who's in, who's out, not a lot of questionable stuff anymore, kind of up in the air. Most of the things we do have clarity. Ty Jerome is questionable for Cleveland. That's not a big deal necessarily. We did get FEV, Freddie Van Vliet, midday downgrade all the way to out. He's out for personal reasons. Tari Eason's been doubtful for a long time, and he got upgraded to questionable. I don't know. I still kind of have my doubts, but Tari Eason officially is questionable. Malik Monk is probable here for Sacramento. The Clippers are playing the back half of a back-to-back. We're expecting Kawhi not to play. Terrence Mann is also questionable. They weren't pushed very hard last night, though. They played a back. They were up by twice as many points, I believe, after 3, which is something you don't see very often against Brooklyn, who at least you tried, but they didn't. But Bart Simpson, we'll give him that. And the Blazers, we're expecting Avdia out. He's officially doubtful. That's a later game. Late day change as far as Robert Williams. He's questionable. Jeremy Grant is still out with that face. His face has been jacked up for a while. Hopefully he's going to be all right. And then Donovan Clingan, the big boy center, is out as well. So some of the bigs not available for Portland. TJ, anything else that we're monitoring here as far as it's pretty clear. I don't know if we're going to get news on Williams, if he's in or if he's out. I kind of assume he doesn't play, but I don't know. Anything that has your eye as far as the if-then stuff is clean. Like it had Tyrese Halliburton, he's already officially in, so we're good.
I feel like maybe all the stuff that's coming in right now is all for Friday. It looks like Utah is going to be heavily undermanned. The biggest thing, I guess, in terms of news I'd be waiting on would be Tari Eason, whether or not he makes his return today since he was upgraded to questionable. I think that would be the number one thing, just because Houston already without Fred VanVleet, their guys have been priced up a decent amount, but at the same time, they're going to be even more undermanned without VanVleet already. So Houston with Easton is probably what I'd be waiting on the most. We're going to probably have a few interesting starting lineups tonight. We're with OKC missing will it just be Jalen Williams stepping in and playing the center position for Hartenstein? Clippers have been doing some weird things lately. Portland is dealing with some injuries, so there were going to be some, not necessarily like injury news we're going to be waiting on, but I think starting lineup news in those later games could be interesting.
Bobby, anything you want to note before we dive in and do a little game-by-game deal?
Yeah, I think the Jalen Williams decision on this slate is probably the most important piece. And I don't even think it's really that close. Like what you do with him. Like we've seen Jay Len Williams basically play the center at times, and there's Kenrich Williams behind him too as well. He's going to be 70% owned. And kind of a scary play for me in that ownership.
Yeah, we'll have that conversation, but without Hartenstein is not new news, but he's out for like a week or so. Of course, Chet out as well, so they're two bigs. We saw this earlier in the year, and the tricky part is this is probably the worst possible matchup to be against bigs. Cleveland's one of the biggest teams to face with Mobley and Allen. We've seen Alex Caruso play some center. But yeah, the Jalen Williams thing is tricky. Jalen with a Y. And we're suspecting he's going to start. That's not official. I feel like he's going to start. They don't have a lot of other options. Like you said, they can have the other J. Will play some 5. And OKC is terrible on the glass. That's the one thing they're horrendous at, which is why I did like Jared Allen. I bet him over today for his rebounds. We'll get to that. But, it feels like OKC gives up the most rebounds in basketball, essentially. Best game on the board. Let's talk about the Pacers first. Pacers and Pistons. 228.5 is the total. Pistons are 2-point favorites here. So it's definitely tight, fairly high. Could be an interesting game. We are getting Halliburton back. We're also getting Nesmith back. We haven't seen him in a while. They did say minutes limit for him. So I would play him. And I'm kind of surprised we're getting Halliburton back. When it first happened, it seemed like it would be a bigger deal as far as his injury. But he's back. And the Pistons, nothing new with them. Ivy's obviously out. That's been the case for a while. TJ, how do you feel about the Pacers and the Pistons, one of the two 7 o'clock games?
Not very interested in this one. I don't think I have anybody from the Indiana side even in my pool today, and I'm running 150 lineups. I think I'm just going to X them out completely. there's Mathurin out, and so that made them somewhat interesting. But with everybody else kind of coming back here, Halliburton back in the lineup, Neesmith is going to be back playing limited minutes. Everybody kind of just looks fine, like you could play Nemhard, you could play Turner. If you think Halliburton's going to play full minutes, you can play him, you can play Siakam. But I want to narrow down my pool other places, and I don't think I'm going to play a single Pacer today.
Bobby, are you enthused about the Pacers, or you're kind of right there with TJ?
Yeah, I'm right there with TJ. I think Miles Turner and Siakam may have some tournament viability. Currently in our sims, Siakam's hitting the second optimal, so I don't mind him. It would be more interesting the other side, whether it be Jalen Duren, who's in a phenomenal matchup versus the Pacers and their rim defense, and also Cade Cunningham, who I think for a play on the slate that might go overlooked, he's someone that I'll definitely try to be overweight on in terms of exposure.
Yeah, I like the Cade call for sure. Looking at our actual projected fantasy points, 20% we have him at on kind of a small slate. We're going to get to it in a second, but Phoenix and Washington without Beal is kind of the perfect storm. Booker, Durant, both project spectacularly, excellently. Well, I don't know why I can't speak today. So you're going to be able to get Cade at 20%, which the pie is only going to cut into so many pieces because it's just 5 games. But you got to feel pretty good about that. I like Cunningham in tournaments for sure. Trying to find anything else in this game that is really worth digging into. Like Pascal, like TJ said, just he's fine. If you land on him, so be it. I'm not really forcing Halliburton. I'm a little bit concerned with his groin. Jalen Duren, just never really know, but he just hasn't shown that ceiling very often this season. He is priced down a bit for what it's worth. But I don't really like this game a heck of a lot, Bobby. Anything else we want to say before we move on? We got 5 to get through in about 15 or 20 minutes. I'm going to go. We'll kind of circle back in our favorite plays position by position. But I got nothing else for you.
Yeah, maybe
like Cade. So, sorry, you said Bobby. My bad.
Maybe Tim Hardaway at 4.1K, but I doubt he makes my pool. He would be the only other play.
Yeah, the Hardaway, Asar, like Beasley conundrum, and I kind of like one of those guys to be out, right? They say they have sort of a push-pull thing going on between those three. I wouldn't play more than one of those for the record. Beasley, Asar, and THJ. What did you have, TJ, as far as you want to double down on Cunningham?
Yeah, I really want to double down on Cade Cunningham. He's one of my favorite plays on the slate. I'm currently getting to 39% in my current build. I'm loading up on just the absolute ton of $3,500 and less value we have on this slate, and just playing as much Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Cade Cunningham, SGA as I possibly can today. All the spend ups.
So Jalen Williams, Banton, I guess, is one of those that's still minimum 3K. Is Whitmore, is he too expensive to be qualifying for a 3.5? I know he's 3.7. I'm not sure. I don't know how technical you're getting. Is he
I'm playing 51. I'm playing 51% Kenrich Williams right now.
Okay.
I think he's going to have to play big minutes. I think Jalen Williams, even though I'm playing a ton of him, is so likely to get into foul trouble in this game. Plus, with Evan Mobley and Jared Allen playing 35-plus minutes a game, if this stays close, like Kenrich is going to have to play big minutes.
Did you split those two? Not to get ahead as far as that game, but did you max them at 1, Kenrich and Jalen Williams?
I didn't max them at 1, but I have minimum 1 of those 2 in every lineup, and then I'm also going to get to 10% Ousmane Dieng.
Yeah, that's kind of what I like, and we'll talk about that in a second. The Phoenix stuff, I think it's a little bit cleaner as far as the route, which we'll get to. By the way, Jalen Williams,
Dieng as in like the G League call up from OKC.
Wait, say it again.
I'm playing 10% of Dieng, like the G League call up from OKC.
Oh wow, that's okay. Interesting, because they have
no big men, and they're facing against the team that is the big man team.
Yeah, it's a tricky conundrum, and I think Jalen Williams, the good Jalen Williams, could play the 5, and I guess they'll have Caruso play some 5. Maybe, I know it sounds ridiculous, but we've seen it before. I I don't know how much they care about that because they're giving up rebounds anyway. It's just that's just kind of what they seeded, the way they built their team, and they're without their two bigs. But yeah, I think Mason Plumlee is like a better dart. And you mentioned Oso as well, but we'll get there. Actually, we should.
I mentioned Osuman Dieng, but yeah, I am playing some Oso Ighodaro too.
No. I know. I'm saying I prefer Oso and Plumlee to the OKC darts because I just think their routes are a little bit cleaner. I think. Okay. Oh, let's drop the second clue. People are asking for the second clue. Yeah, let's help them out. Let's get today's Fleet Thursday. Second clue is February. Is that right? I think it is.
Second clue. Yeah, I mean, well, let's make it February now because that's certainly one of the clues. So.
Yeah, okay, it was. Now, by the way, I'm telling you the name just in case I missed it in the Discord channel. Let's talk about it. We kind of talked about the Phoenix game. Phoenix and Washington, 231 is the total. They're down to 11, which I think is pretty important. They traded for Richards. Richards not available just yet. Probably available on Saturday or so. They're without Bradley Beal. He does not get his revenge. We do get a Kevin Durant homecoming game from the DC area, taking on the terrible Wizards team. Of course, Nurkic is still out as well. And Washington, nothing new, right? Brogdon's out and Bagley's out. Nothing really new as far as their rotations. But TJ, the point I was kind of getting into is that Phoenix is down to 11, right? And this game can get ugly. And you sort of can kind of work. You have to have 5. No matter what the score is, 5 have to play. And they have 2 veterans off the bench if we're going by the projected starting lineup. Grayson Allen and Royce O'Neal probably aren't moppers, right? So Oso almost definitely, Lee, Bull, Morris probably, and then maybe Ryan Dunn. I think Ryan Dunn might be the classic starter possible mopper, like both, because I don't think Grayson Allen mops, and I don't think Royce O'Neal mops. If it comes to it, just 11. It's just a little note. I thought that was kind of interesting. So I think we have an additional out for Ryan Dunn. Also, Washington's terrible. They go a lot of threes. That's how he's going to get there if he does get there. I have a minimum of 2 Suns in every team, TJ. Do you like Phoenix as much as I do?
I didn't make that as a rule that I want to have minimum 2 Suns, but I'm probably going to end up getting something similar to that in most of my lineups. Like I have playing 50% Devin Booker and 40% Kevin Durant today. About 20% Cameron Johnson and Tyus Jones as it stands, 15% Iguodaro and Dunn. So I am getting to a ton of this team as well. I'll probably end up to pretty close to at least 1 to 2 Suns in every lineup. I was thinking about making a rule to use Durant or Booker in every lineup.
I think I think I have at least 1 in every lineup just because that's how they're going to score, and they're going to score 120 points. And my favorite value play in the slate's also in this game. Tyus Jones, correct. Who used to play for the Wizards. He's been losing a lot of minutes. He's been kind of downgraded of late, but the absence of Beal should open up Tyus Jones to grab some more minutes. Again, I think their 8 are pretty tight. Jones, Booker, Dunn, Durant, Plumlee. I mean, he's going to start. We'll see how many minutes he gets. But if he gets 25 against Washington, I think he's playable. And then, Allen, Royce O'Neal, a great team for his skill set, right? Not that he's got a big ceiling, but a good 3-and-D team to face, fast pace, sloppy, give up some threes. And then Oso, who's probably going to mop if this game gets ugly as well. Good for 20 minutes as is. You might see a Bull dusted off as well. That's when things probably were a complete disaster for Washington. Jump in here, Bobby. How do you feel about the Suns?
I'm with you on Tyus. I think Tyus is probably my favorite value play on the slate at 4,500. For me, I think Grayson Allen's pretty good too. He's going to get a lot of open threes, and as we know, Washington doesn't really play any defense, so I'm fine with that. The 2 strongest studs on the slate are probably Durant and Booker. Deciding what you want to do with them is probably pretty important. I think you'd play them together. I probably am going away from that, but I'll have a significant amount of both Durant and Booker for what it's worth. And then these Washington guys, I know people don't want to play Jordan Poole. They don't want to play Kuzma, but I think to be over the field on them just in case this game does stay close, because the narrative of the industry is probably get away with just playing Durant and Booker together. I think that's a fine play as well. I think I'd prefer Kuzma.
I have 3 Suns, so I do have Kuzma as a run back on one lineup, but I think I pull on another. I'm not playing as much as I usually do because I normally don't do the show while making lineups up to the bell, so I didn't want to stress myself out on here. I'm still probably going to be stressed out in about 20 minutes while I haven't finalized the lineup just yet. We'll figure that out when we get there. TJ, how do you feel about the Wizards?
Yeah, I agree. They work really well as run backs in this one. Nobody would stand out typically as a target for me, but if they're just because of how many Suns we want to play, I do want to get to some of these Wizards on the other side. So I'm getting about 18% Jordan Poole. Let's see how much Kuzma we got here. Looking at the wrong position. Less Kuzma and Sar than I thought, actually. Only 5% of each of them. So Jordan Poole is the guy I'm getting to the most. And then I am getting to a little bit of Jonas Valanciunas here as well. I got 9% of him in my current build.
Question in chat. 2 of the best stars and a few of the best value plays. What's the maximum number of Suns you put in a lineup in a tournament? I think 3 is the most I got. I don't think 4 is a terrible idea. But I would say if I go to 4, I probably wouldn't have Durant and Booker. Because, you're spending – both those guys have to get 55, 60, right? And
well, that's just when you're playing Jordan Poole on the other side, hoping it stays somewhat close, I think.
Well, that's the other part of it. If I'm running 4, I probably want to have somebody on Washington. But I think you could play 4 like Tyus Jones, Grayson Allen, one of Booker, Durant, and like Dunn, Plumlee, something like that. I think you could do that. I don't know if that's – because the slate's small enough. A couple games might just, whimper out. You have a thought on that, Bobby?
Yeah, if you're playing 4, I would definitely be running it back with a guy like Poole or Kuzma for that matter. I like the Joe Val call. I feel like we're kind of starved for value, and he's the center position. And if you don't like Kenrich Williams and you're playing a lot of lineups, like getting him in there isn't a bad idea. Not Kenrich Williams, Jalen Williams. Sorry.
Yeah, I gotcha. Anything else here as far as Phoenix and Washington?
No, I think that's pretty much it.
Best game from a watchability perspective. I don't think it's close. Again, number 1 team in the East, number 1 team in the West. The Cavs take on OKC. We saw the Cavs take down OKC about a week ago or so. This is on TNT. It's an island game for Cleveland. This is the front half of a back-to-back for OKC. For what it's worth, 2 teams are on the back end tonight. That's the Clippers and Houston. Also, the Cavs are pretty healthy here. Ty Jerome is all we have as far as questionable. Should be getting an update on that at some point. He's ill. I think he was upgraded to questionable, if I'm not mistaken, because he was out last game. And as far as OKC, we've already talked about the bigs being out, both Chet and Hartenstein. So we're projecting Jalen Williams to start, the other Jalen Williams. Who else would start if it's not him? I'm assuming it's him. But
Kenrich.
Yeah, they could start him too. And that's
to
just
be clear,
like
saying I'm playing 50% Kenrich. This is not saying play Kenrich in your cash games. He's one of the very best plays on the slate. This is just a very big tournament stand that I'm going to take. Since Jalen Williams is massive chalk, I'm going to play 80% Jalen Williams. But in all the lineups that don't have Jalen, they'll have Kenrich. And then I'll double up on some of them because he's so cheap. And I think there's an edge to be had that they play more minutes than the industry is projecting. But the consensus is he's not going to play that many minutes. So that's just like my big tournament stand tonight.
Yeah. What do we have? About 20 minutes or so for Kenrich? 19. Yeah. And there's a lot of hedging going on there, right? We got Diang's getting 3. Is he short even play? We don't know. But that's, as you know, Alex Dukas is getting a minute thrown his way. Is he for sure going to play? I don't know. Just some head stuff in there. For what it's worth, we're giving Williams 25 minutes as the starter. No certainty he closes, but he is 3-3, which is pretty fair price. Fantasy appointment of player on the season. Do the math. If he plays 25 minutes, you should be getting home there, and 25 should be good enough, at least if nothing else for your cash games. Bobby, Thunder, Cleveland. Do you think these teams play a little bit more? Like we saw, I think SGA played 38 minutes last time they played. Cleveland plays a lot of blowouts. So like maybe we get a couple extra minutes as some of their starters. Again, it's an island game. You're on TNT. When you're on TNT, there's extra commercials for national TV games. You got an extra minute, which doesn't sound like a lot, but when you're running all over the place, you probably can use an extra minute. Maybe you come back 30 seconds prior than you typically would, and that could make a difference. Thunder and the Cavs. What do you got, Bobby?
Yeah, for me, Evan Mobley at 8,100 is probably my favorite play on the slate. Getting a very strong amount of Evan Mobley currently. I think Shea's a good play. Jalen Williams, I think for like I'm going with the Jalen under the field approach tonight. Yeah. So I think Jalen Williams hopefully he plays some 5. Kenrich Williams I'll have a good bit of. Definitely going to have some Mitchell on the Cleveland side. I think Strus is a pretty good value as well. I'm just trying to pull it up here. I'll be playing Lou Dort. I hate playing Lou Dort, but I'll definitely have him in some lineups to 5 games late.
Dort or Chamber?
Yeah, and that's pretty much where I'm going in terms of this game.
I like SGA with one of the Cleveland bigs.
Yeah.
Either Mobley or Allen. Mobley, I think, has got a bigger ceiling. He can step out and hit a 3. But I think Jared Allen's got a chance to get 20 rebounds. So that's another way he can get there. And some putback stuff, right? So on the offensive glass. Anything else here, TJ, before we move on?
Absolutely. Yeah. I do just want to hammer home that I am getting to a ton of OKC today. 80% Jalen Williams, 50% Kenrich, 40% SGA, 20% Jalen Williams, and then I'm even mixing in some Diang, some Joe off the bench today. And then on the Cleveland side of things, I really think these guys are probably the best large field tournament plays on the slate. On DraftKings, we're projecting Donovan Mitchell for 4% ownership, on FanDuel for 3%. I love Bobby's Evan Mobley call. I love your Jared Allen call. All 3 of these guys, I think, are just phenomenal tournament plays at single-digit ownership on both sites.
Yeah, I wanted to pull up the box score. I know I don't have to go off box score in one game, that kind of thing. But in that one game, Jared Allen, had 25 points, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 stocks. He got up to 57 DK, which is one of his biggest numbers on the season. And again, island game. So, and I just think that this game means more than, a Tuesday, in Phoenix or something like that. All right, let's move on. 2 more games to knock out. We'll try to do this quickly. We will drop the third clue for Fleet Thursday. I see some answers coming in. It is not Magic Johnson or Julius Erving or Kevin Love or Dr. J or Jim Kelly. Lots of guesses, but the third clue, that might change some things. Derby. Derby is the third clue. Derby is the third clue. All right.
It would be absolutely hilarious if your athlete was a horse.
Why can't it be Secretariat? Secretariat was born in February. I say that with confidence. I know that. I don't know when Secretariat was born.
You fooled me. I thought you looked it up.
No. Whirlwind. I can keep going with random horse names. Clippers and the Blazers, 220.5 is the total. Clippers are 7-point favorites. They are the back half of a back-to-back. So Kawhi's not going to be playing tonight for the Clippers. This is not the TNT back half of the doubleheader. That's Houston, Sacramento. We'll talk about it in a second. But Terrence Mann is questionable too. As far as Portland, we're expecting Avdi out. He's officially doubtful. No Jeremy Grant. Robert Williams, midday downgrade, questionable illness. Also, Klingon is out. And, this is the tricky one, Bobby. I think that Williams is probably not going to play. I don't know, but I think he's not going to play. Klingon, we know, is not going to play. In theory, this opens the door for Ayton to probably play 32 minutes or so. But he's been such a disaster and so completely unreliable. And the matchup's not good. And the Blazers are horrendous overall. I don't know what to do with it. But, in theory, there's an opportunity here. Your thoughts as far as Ayton and the rest of the Blazers?
Yeah, I'm playing some Ayton for sure. My biggest question mark is Banton at 3K. I don't think the ceiling is there necessarily. but he's hitting a good bit. I would rather go up to like a Kamara. Worried about Banton's ceiling, and then we're getting Simons, Henderson, and Sharp chalk. For me, if I had to rank these guys, it would probably be Henderson, Simon, Sharp, and then followed by Ayton in terms of like the spend ups, and then between the cheapies, I'd go Kamara over Banton.
Ty Jerome officially available. Wizards lineup: Poole, Carrington, Koulibaly, Kuzma, Sarr, as expected. 6:30 injury report should be coming through right now. TJ, what do you got?
Yeah, I really like actually kind of like both sides of this one. I am on the Banton train. Like, this is a guy that if he's been playing 20-ish minutes earlier in this, like, he's been pretty consistently like a point per minute guy all year. And so if we're going to be getting 15, 20 minutes from him, that could be pretty big at only a 3K price tag. So I like Banton here quite a bit. Scoot Henderson on FanDuel is like the cash game point guard. He's projecting for 56% ownership right now, only at $5,100. I think that is a great fade for tournaments. And honestly, on FanDuel, as is Shaden Sharp, Norman Powell, these guys are just so heavily owned today, and I don't really think they deserve to be that high. So they're great cash game plays. I think I'd try to avoid in tournaments. Harden and Zubats for the Clippers, I really like today. And then I think you can take shots on the cheap Clippers as well, as assuming Terrence Mann doesn't play. Amir Coffey, Chris Dunn. I don't think Kevin Porter is going to be in the rotation whatsoever. So a little bit better on DraftKings than FanDuel, but I think you can take shots on the cheapies for the Clippers too.
What do we think happened there is the question. Like, was he suspended for a day?
The same thing that happens everywhere.
Well, I mean, the difference is like before, I don't know what prompted it. I didn't watch the press conference, but before the game started, Ty Lue said he's not playing tonight. He's not in the rotation. Now, I don't know if that was a direct question.
I guess I don't know if that was a one game thing or just going forward, he's not going to be in the rotation anymore. I kind of feel like they might just be done with him.
I don't know. I think he's a really interesting tournament. And you know what? And what if we lose James Harden? What if they say, you know what, Harden's going to sit tonight because it's Portland, it's the back half of a back-to-back. Screw it. And when Lou made those comments, he didn't know the Clippers were going to beat Brooklyn by like 90, and they didn't need Harden in the fourth quarter. So maybe he's going to walk that back. I'm like, okay, we're going to rest Harden because we're going to use him a whole bunch last night, and now we didn't. So maybe we don't rest him.
If they do rest him, it's going to be bone season. It wasn't last time, but it will be this time.
I mean, I want to see the amount of times of people that wanted to make bones happen versus the amount of times bones actually happened. He had a good couple of games in Denver. I remember that did happen. He's got a good name. If his name was like Tom Highland,
he's always been elite from a fantasy standpoint, point per minute. He's not a good real life player, but in fantasy, he's always been really good point per minute.
Yeah, I just don't know. And the tricky part is like you got to set up accordingly because there's another game to work with. We'll talk about, with Houston and Sacramento. So if you're having players, and I'm not trying to freak anybody out, but again, it's just a weird situation that you don't typically get. Yeah, we're just not going to play this guy. And again, I don't know what the question was or how it came up. But just we'll see. Maybe he doesn't play again. I know we're projecting him, but I think we're hedging him, right? So it's just kind of like the projection team doesn't know either. They just don't know. I think he's got I feel like he had a projection. Yeah, he's got a 9-minute projection. It's like, what are you going to do with that? Who the heck knows? That's basically them throwing their hands up because nobody knows. Bobby, anything else as far as Clippers in Portland?
Zubac, Harden, TJ kind of hit on it. Don't mind some Norman Powell either. But yeah, I like the call by TJ to be under on these the Portland guys, Sharp, Henderson, like the Portland chalk, that being Sharp, Henderson, and trying to build that in currently as we speak. In Simons, I think I'm trying to make sure I'm underweight on those guys now. I like that call.
I think I'm going to be under on Sharp and Simons. Yeah, Scoot was outrageous last game. He made every shot. We see that every once in a while. I don't know if he's going to repeat it, but he is cheap enough, like you said, TJ. Yeah, especially in FanDuel, you're playing him in cash games. Okay, let's move on to the last game. Then we'll quickly circle back by positions. We'll just combine FanDuel and DK. If there's any sort of outliers, by all means, point those out. But we want to save time for questions as well. We also got to give the people the fourth clue. No winner just yet. It's not Vlad Guerrero, who's in the news, not Darryl Strawberry, or Giannis Antetokounmpo, or Cristiano Ronaldo. But clue number 4, get your fingers ready. It is Royal. It's Royal. So let me know what athlete we're talking about in the Discord. Get yourself a week free, a RotoGrinders premium. All right, last game. Houston, Sacramento. Back half of the TNT doubleheader, 224.5 is the total. We're without Freddie VanVleet. We're expecting – this is our projection. Starting lineup for Houston, Amen Thompson, Jalen Green, Dylan Brooks, Jeff Green, who they dusted off last night, and Şengün. As far as Sacramento, Monk is back, so Fox, Monk, DeRozan, Murray, and Sabonis. Any actual injuries for Sacramento of relevance? I don't think there is. No. Devin Carter's questionable. Tari Eason's questionable too. Upgraded the questionable. He's missed a bunch of games. Was doubtful. Now he's questionable. Is he going to play? I don't know. Jabari Smith is still out as well. TJ, Rockets, Kings. What do you got?
Yeah, Fred VanVleet being out definitely makes this team pretty darn interesting. Jalen Green, I'm getting to about 17% today. I like him quite a bit for tournaments. Not getting to as much of them as I kind of thought I would earlier when, as we've been talking, it made me really want to just bump up my Cleveland exposure. But I think Amen Thompson is a really solid play, even though he's expensive. I think he's probably still going to smash tonight. Cam Whitmore is one of the better value plays on the slate on both sites. Pending he is in the starting lineup, he becomes like the best, I think. As long as he's coming off the bench, he's just still one of the better ones. Is kind of how I view it. That's about it. Like Alperen Şengün, I guess I'm doubling Alperen Şengün. His projection right now, he's 5% on FanDuel, 7.5 on DraftKings. I'm getting about 15%. So I guess I am doubling the field on Şengün and getting overweight to Jalen Green too.
Yeah, I like that call. And it's sort of obviously in DK you can roster 2 centers, but any way you can get away from the OKC stuff in tournaments, Williams specifically, spending up on Şengün, who's not going to be very popular on a 5-game slate, and no Freddie as well. And same deal with Sabonis, who he can drop a triple-double, wouldn't shock any of us. I think he's the league leader in rebounds on the season. I could be wrong per game. Close enough. Bobby, what do you have as far as the Rockets and the Kings?
Yeah, for me, I'm with TJ. Like if Cam Whitmore starts, he's my favorite value play on the slate. In terms of Jalen Green, I probably should bump my exposure, getting more Şengün currently. Going to have a good bit of Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Once I currently have a good bit of Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox, but these Rockets I got to bump my exposure to and rerun Sims pretty quick. So that's currently where I'm at. In terms of, I kind of like this game as a game stack. That's kind of how I'm playing it. Yeah, that's pretty much the route I'm taking on this for this game.
We do have a winner in the Discord for today's Fleet Thursday. Some people are just better at this game than others. They're just better.
I'm not one of those people that's good at
Well, you're doing the show too. It's kind of
I've never even been close.
But Peterman once again takes it down. We'll go ahead and drop the 5th clue for fun. The 5th clue was like father. That was the 5th clue. And I also had Nacho was on my list. If you remember, he had a famous Nacho incident. Husky. There's a few more for you. All right, and we'll give out the winner. We'll tell you what it is in a few minutes. But we do want to circle back and get our fair plays position by position. Interesting that Naismith is starting for the Pacers. They did say he's going to be on a minutes limit. I would not get excited about this and think all of a sudden he's going to play a bunch, but it is worth noting. Halliburton, Nembhard, Naismith. Mathurin is out, by the way, suspended. I did not mention that before. He got into it with a referee. Pascal, and then Turner. Your Pistons are Cunningham, THJ, Asar Thompson, Harris, and Duren. Those are your starters for Detroit. TJ, you want to talk about what's going on the screen? You want to show off the sim stuff?
Yeah, we'll start, I guess, at the point guard position here for kind of optimal plays. Like we said, it's Scoot Henderson on FanDuel is one of the guys that you're getting in. I think Devin Booker is my favorite and like kind of the must game cash game play on DraftKings. You talked about like maybe limiting one of Durant and Booker if you're playing like up to 4 Suns. I think maybe cash is where you don't do that. Booker and Durant are probably both ending in your cash game lineups today. Sharp, Harden, Henderson, all kind of reasonable fill-in options there. And that's probably where you're sticking from a cash game standpoint at point guard. Tournaments, my favorite options are SGA and Cade Cunningham going all the way up.
Bobby, your thoughts as far as point guards?
Point guard Tyus Jones is probably my favorite, like from a value perspective. Shea, Cade, Booker, James Harden, Fox, Halliburton. Am I doing every position or?
No. If you had anything else as far as point guards, by all means. But I'll jump in there and we can kind of divert it, and we'll talk about shooting guards in just a second. I do want to mention, drop your questions, and this is not Roth always does this so smoothly. I know people are asking questions on the YouTube as well. I do want to appease the Discord first. So now that the guesses are going to be clear as far as
if it's easier, since I'm used to hosting the crunch time aspect a little more, I don't mind switching into asking you guys the questions.
Go for it. Yeah, that's fine.
Easier.
Yeah, well, we're not there just yet, but start lining them up in the Discord, and we'll have our eye on the YouTube as well. But Discord is prioritized. Bobby, give me your favorite shooting guards, and if anything changes on FanDuel as opposed to DK, by all means, feel free to mention that. But we're gonna put them all together.
Shooting guards: Booker, Mitchell, Amen Thompson, Norm Powell. You can throw in there. Jalen Green. Sharp's the cash game. I'm going to be under on Sharp in tournaments. Jordan Poole as a run back, I think, is fine with all that chalk from the Phoenix side. And Grayson Allen. Really like Grayson Allen as a value. Tyus would be my favorite from the Phoenix Suns, but Grayson's second.
Yeah, good 3-point matchup. A starting lineup for Phoenix is official. It's Jones, Booker, Dunn, Durant, and Plumlee. But yeah, Allen and O'Neal, the two guys coming off the bench, two main pieces. I guess Oso as well would be in the rotation playing the 5. TJ, what do you have as far as shooting guards?
They almost it's sort of interesting to look at. They pretty much just have like rotating 3 guys in and out with Booker and Durant out there almost all the time right now. It's almost like a 5-on 5-off situation, but it's a 3-on 3-off situation just with Durant and Booker kind of staying out. Other guys I like the shooting guard position. Like I said, for cash, if you're not playing Booker at point guard, you're playing him at shooting guard. Powell, Sharp, Allen, Green, all totally perfectly fine options to play in a cash game setting as well. You need to get really cheap. I don't think it's crazy to play Banton. I would prefer him over, I think, Amir Coffey, Luguentz Dort, a couple of these other cheap salary saving options. So if you have to punt, that's probably where I'd go. But Booker is the priority one. Shaden Sharp is, like, even though we said we want to go underweight in tournaments, he is still a good cash game option today, as is Grayson Allen.
Take us to small forwards, TJ. Also want to note, if you're asking questions, please make sure you specify not just the site. Let us know if it's FanDuel, if it's DraftKings, if it's tournaments, cash games, GBP. But most importantly, if you're asking about Jalen Williams, make sure you tell me what Jalen. We probably could figure it out, but don't just put like Jay Williams. Spell it out and make it easier. Good one, bad one. Add the Y and just make it a lot easier as far as asking the questions. TJ, small forwards.
All right, Cam Whitmore is going to be my most heavily exposed guys right now. Even with him coming off the bench, he's one of my favorite value plays on the slate. Small forward to me is the punt position. This is where you are going cheap most of the time. Like as it stands right now, Norman Powell is the highest owned optimal percentage guy. But if you're looking to go Grayson Allen, Royce O'Neal, Cam Whitmore, Ryan Dunn, Amir Coffey, Toumani Camara, like this is where you're taking shots on cheap guys to me. I have 30% Camara, 20% Coffee, 20% Allen, 10% done, 10% Chris Murray coming off the bench for Portland, 10% Isaiah Joe and Kamara. Like, it's just a disgusting position. I'm mixing in some Max Strus, mixing in some Derek Jones Jr. I think the best tournament spend up-ish would be Amen Thompson. But in cash, I think you're going cheap, especially like looking at guys like Whitmore, looking at guys like Coffee, probably pairing them with Norman Powell in one of those spots.
Going to get to Bobby in a second as far as his favorite small forwards, but I did want to mention, and yeah, shout out to somebody in YouTube did get our 3 Thursday correct. However, they did not submit it in the Discord. And yeah, we can't follow every single chat possible. That's why we want them all in one place. So shout out to you. I believe that was Jay Mammon. And by the way, our answer was All-Star. This person's an All-Star. February. There are typically more times than not, 28 days in February. This person, more times than not, wore number 28. I believe they also wore number 84 for Detroit. Derby, they won a home run derby. They were not a horse or a jockey, which I saw some jockey names. Royal, they were not a Kansas City Royal, but their name is Royalty. Like father, I believe, I'm fairly certain, he hit the same amount of career homers as his father did. His father, Cecil, hit 319 home runs. Prince Fielder hit 319 career home runs. The answer was Prince Fielder. So shout out to in our Discord, Peterman took it down. Bobby, small forwards, what do you got?
Yeah, so small forward, like TJ said, isn't the greatest position. Spending up Norman Powell, Eamon Thompson are good. Grayson Allen, Tamani Kamara, Cam Whitmore is my favorite value on the slate. So he's someone I'm trying to get to. He's my favorite value if he starts. Bilal Coulibaly at 5.5, although I'm not really trying to play him. Dort is in there. Derek Jones Jr., the Clippers guys, Max Strus, pretty much all the same guys TJ hit on. Amir Coffee.
Bobby, take us to power forward.
Yeah, so for power forward, Durant stands out 9.2. Probably prefer Durant to Booker, but they're both fantastic plays. Jalen Williams of OKC, Jalen Williams, that is, not Jalen. I think he's second for me. Evan Mobley, I'm going to have more Mobley than Durant. I think Mobley Durant probably projects the best on the slate. Mobley is my favorite tournament play for sure. I think Kyle Kuzma is fine as a run back if you're playing that Phoenix-Washington game. Cam Whitmore also has small forward, power forward eligibility, so I think he's fine if you're looking in the value range. Oscar Thompson, although there is like that three-headed monster of Beasley, Tim Hardaway eating into each other's minutes. So I, like Dean said, I would group them away from each other. Derek Jones Jr., that's pretty much it for me currently.
TJ, power forward?
I'll be even to the field on Durant. He's absolutely who you're playing in cash games today. I have 47% right as what we are currently projecting. Kenrich Williams I'm getting to 40% of now. I've lowered my exposure there. I'm still getting some Whitmore as a salary saver. Mobley call in tournaments I just think is so good. We're currently only projecting him for 5% ownership. I got 27% right now. I love Bobby's call there. Jalen Williams, think he's a great play too. And then the punts like Iguodala, Dunn, totally fine with these guys today going all the way down or running it back with a Sar or a Kuzma if you're playing a bunch of Phoenix Suns players in your lineups. Center position, I think you're playing Jalen Williams in cash for sure. It's in a double center night. I saw Maria Donyezy asking about that in chat. It's for sure a double center night. I'm playing a center and a util in 100% of my tournament lineups. Jalen Williams is the chalk of the day. I think it's decent chalk, but it's the reason why I'm getting to so much Kenrich Williams and a little bit of somebody taught me how to say it in chat before too, but it is so far back I might mess it up now. Usman Jung, I believe it was how it's pronounced. Anyways, the reason why I'm getting a little bit of Kenrich, a little bit of him is because of that massive chalk for Jalen.
What if we don't see? I know it's J Will and J Dub, but I don't remember which one is which. Do you know which one's which? Did you talk about that?
I don't know. I know Jalen with an E is the good expensive one. Jalen with an I is not. I don't remember which one is which. Yeah. We gotta rip through these because a lot of questions are piling up.
Okay, Bobby, anything to add as far as centers, or shall we make it quick? I suppose be brisk.
In terms of center, Jalen Williams is obviously going to be someone a lot of people are going to try to get to. I think he's bad chalk, but in cash games, you're playing him. Durant has center eligibility, so he's fantastic. Sabonis at 9.8, Alperen Sengun at 8.9. Zubac's minutes have come up recently, so don't mind him. Evan Mobley, like I talked about, at 8.1, he's my favorite play on the slate. Jared Allen, 6.5, in that OKC game as well. Like both of these bigs should eat versus OKC's front court. And Dean's boy, DeAndre Ayton. Let's throw him in there to round it out.
He's not into my lineups right now, and I don't have a lot. And have I mentioned how much I hate making lineups right now? I don't enjoy it. World's smallest
tough,
for me.
That's why I'll handle the
it's very difficult.
Where you can get your lineups in, because I'm getting my final build in right now.
TJ, did you want to? I can ask the questions. I'm seeing some of them pile up in the Discord channel. I'm happy to knock them out or the best as we can.
Sure.
Okay, so TJ,
as long as you got your lineups in, you can take them.
I think they're in. I mean, whatever. I don't know if they're good or not. FanDuel 2v2. This is Swag with Chris in the Discord. Pascal and Powell, or Booker and Koulibaly. Who do you prefer amongst those two for cash on FanDuel?
It's tough because I don't really like Koulibaly, but you have to play Booker, so I would go Booker and Koulibaly.
I'm going to stick with you for cash, TJ. Achilles has a question. It's a 3v3. It's kind of a tricky one. SGA, Dort, and Ken Rich, all three from OKC, versus Scoot. This is on DK, by the way, versus Scoot, Jalen Williams with the EN, the good one, and Whitmore amongst.
Second one.
I think the mistake is you're supposed to have a son, and I don't know if you do, because you're supposed to have at least one of Booker or Durant in cash, if not both.
Yeah.
And he's trying to force SGA or Williams. They're not bad plays, but I don't think that's the correct route. All right, Bobby, is it okay? This is Mr. Perfect. Is it okay to play Durant, Booker, and then load up the night games for DK single entry? I think you can. Do you think you could play both in the same lineup in single entry?
Yeah, I think you can do that.
Gamble is tilting me. Jay Williams or Jay Williams FanDuel Cash? That is a great question. Well played, sir.
Definitely Jay Williams.
Jay Williams, lock it in. Not even a conversation. Bobby D-Rock wants to know, DK tournaments already have Tyus Jones, Grayson Allen, Whitmore, or Strus Osar-Thompson?
Jason, what was the question again? Sorry.
It's DK tournaments, Grayson Allen and Whitmore. It's a 2v2. Whitmore, Grayson Allen, or Strus and Osar-Thompson?
The Whitmore one.
Okay, scrolling to the YouTube. Chili Chill. We got FanDuel tournaments, Bobby. FanDuel tournaments, a 2v2. Nembhard, Koulibaly, Tumani, Kamara. Oh, it's one of those three. Nembhard, Koulibaly, or Kamara?
I would go Kamara.
Is Delano Banton not a guard? Where does he get his minutes behind? He
is a guard, but he's 6'9", and they're missing Avdia. They're missing a few of their other big wing pieces, so they're going to be running out a lot of guards. And because he's 6'9", that's how he could fall into some extra minutes tonight.
TJ, Zubac, or any of the Kings in DK at similar price? I would say it's Zubac. I don't know what King would be. Sure. He's probably the second. You're talking about playing two centers in cash. I don't know if you actually said it. Zubac is the guy you're going to play.
Zubac and Jalen for sure. Yeah.
FanDuel cash. This is for you, TJ. This is a side 2v2. Whitmore, Kuzma, or Grayson Allen, Kamara. Who do you like amongst those two?
Whitmore, Kuzma, Grayson Allen, Kamara. Whitmore, Kuzma.
Swag with Chris wants to know, Grayson Allen, this is for you, TJ. Can you play him in cash on FanDuel despite him coming off the bench? I think you can. I think he projects okay. I don't want to answer the question for you. My bad. Do you have a thought on that?
What was that, sorry?
Grayson Allen for cash on FanDuel.
If you land there as a punt, it's fine, but he's not a target.
Joey Hunter just says Caruso ? I mean, is he going to play some center? He only plays so many minutes anyway because he's fragile. You know, I'm not playing him. Is anybody playing Caruso? I don't have a lot of lineups.
No.
Blink 182. This is for Bobby. Cade or SGA? DK large field tournament.
It's a great
SGA.
question.
Did you have an answer, TJ?
I probably give slightly an SGA too, but I have exactly each of them in 50% or in 50 lineups, 33% exactly.
Oh, we didn't talk about Plumlee, but there's a chance. There's a chance. He's been terrible, but there's a chance. Kid Catastrophe.
I have
2v2.
0 of 50 lineups, a 0 of 150 lineups. I'm not playing no Plumlee.
Okay, interesting. I mean, you're playing like Kenrich Williams, and
I think Kenrich Williams is an infinitesimally in-depth. What's the word I'm looking for? Infinitely better play than Mason Plumlee.
I disagree, but I mean, he's going to be a little more, popular, whatever. But Plumlee Carrington versus bad Jalen Williams and Tyus Jones. TJ, Plumlee Carrington, bad Jalen, Tyus Jones. I'm guessing you're not playing Plumlee.
No, I'm not playing Plumlee. Second one.
Okay. I think we answered all the questions, I believe. If I missed any, my apologies. I was scrolling on both back and forth. I think I hit everything. I mean, it's too late to ask, but who's breaking the slate, Bobby? I'm going to say Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones he's going to put up a 40-burger. Revenge.
Yeah, I'm with you on Tyus from a value perspective. Evan Mobley's my guy, though. Kind of talked about it all show.
Dex asked Kuzma or Tobias Harris for tournaments. I would have said Kuzma amongst those two. I just think he's got more of a ceiling, and he's a run back as well for all the Suns I'm playing. TJ, who's breaking the slate for you besides Kenrich Williams? Or you can go with Kenrich if you want to.
I'm not going to go with Kendrick Williams. I will go. Wait, I wasn't paying attention. I was talking with the chat. Did Bobby go Mobley?
Yes.
I'm going to go Donovan Mitchell and say they both do.
Oh, I thought you were going to say
I like both plays a ton, so they're both in my first team currently.
My bold call, and I was feeling ambitious in the survey today, was Jared Allen gets 20 rebounds. He doesn't need to grab 20, but that's my bold call. If you're looking for a ladder, by all means, that's something to hit up. But that is the show. We did it. Tomorrow night, I believe, is a standard back to normal 5:00 start. I'm not going to be crunch time host, but I assume Roth will be back. But yeah, I need some paper of some sort. I have a Magic 8-ball. I have a Mr. Predicto, but you've been crunched. Hit that like button. Subscribe, turn on notifications, do all the good stuff, do all the things to help us come back tomorrow. And good luck tonight. Win something. Let us know if you do. We're out of here.